Hello and welcome to the fun day of my 13 days of Halloween. Out with the nightmare stalking, hypothetical death mazes, evil mind controlling ants, and in with the messy queer partying. And what is Halloween truly about if not that? It is Rocky Horror Picture Show Day. I somehow didn't know this was the movie that the Time Warp came from. The song is huge and the movie is also very big. I was floored when the song started though. I thought it was just one of those songs that didn't come from a movie, and I'm a little embarrassed about that. Also embarrassing is that until now, I constantly confused the Rocky Horror Picture Show with Little Shop of Horrors. Probably because they both had the word horror in the title and I didn't know anything about them. I wouldn't have been able to tell you which one was the giant human eating plant, or which one was the party movie. But now I know, and this is the Tim Curry movie, actually. If I watched Rocky Horror Picture Show like 8 years ago, I probably would have been a lot more obsessed with it when I liked musicals more than I do now. I don't hate the genre, but it's not my everything anymore. Rocky Horror does the genre right, though. It is a blast, over-the-top party. There isn't an overly complicated story, just two main plot threads that are easy to keep track of. Traditionally in musicals, the story feels very stop-start. Once things get going, you have to pause it to sing a song. Then the story has to restart, and it leads to awkward pacing. A perfect example of this would be the 1961 West Side Story. There was so much overarching plot that they had to get in there. They had to hurry to tell all the story between the songs, left everything feeling rushed and messy. But this movie doesn't suffer from that problem as much, simply because there isn't a ton of story here, not an overly complicated plot. The unraveling of info is pretty simple. Realizing Dr. Frankenfurter as a tyrant is fun. He shows up with the lights flashing and the performance turned on. I was naturally drawn into the character's charisma, especially compared to the more tame couple you see at the beginning of the movie. The film cleverly reveals that the cool singing alien doctor is not an awesome guy. You don't need tons of setup for this story to work. And that's fine, by the way, even preferred in this case. I feel like the reaction to me saying that a movie is simple might be negative, but I see that as a positive for this movie, because what this movie has is vibes. The movie has the sauce when it comes to a good time. The 13 days are intended to focus on horror movies, but Rocky Horror Picture Show isn't scary even in the slightest. Well, it probably scales some old bigots, but it's not actual horror. So looking at how much it fits into the Halloween category, you have to ask about the spooky vibes. Of course, it exudes spooky party vibes, which is what Halloween is for anyway. As a kid, the holiday is for getting candy, but when you grow up, that's not the case. The reason Halloween might be the best holiday is because your family doesn't expect you to go hang out with the same lame group of people. Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas are all basically the same holiday, an excuse to get together with your family, just with slightly different fonts, which is nice, but they are all slightly different flavors of the same thing. But that isn't Halloween. Halloween is unique. Instead, you get to dress up and go have fun. Halloween is the holiday to messily make out with an alien that your partner doesn't know about. It's the holiday to get plastered and make decisions you will regret if you manage to remember them the next morning. And that's what this movie feels like. It perfectly encapsulates the young adult Halloween, the group's sentiment of a night for fun. As mentioned yesterday, I am a narration hater, but I like the floating lips in the narration, setting it up as in-universe double showing movies. Adds a whole further layer of fun and gives a reason to the narration that makes you think back to the watch and talk genre of shows that came before this, like Elvira, whose movies I included in the last 13 days. Giving a fun, in-universe reason for the narration makes it more acceptable to me. This is now 2 days in a row I've come out of a movie being relatively fine with the narration in them. What has happened to me? I guess it's just because they do something unique with the idea. It isn't just some well-known actor boringly reading off a script. Whenever discussion arises around Rocky Horror Picture, a certain word is bound to show itself. I've been careful to avoid the usage of it so far. A word so widely used but undefined, nobody agrees what it means. So is Rocky Horror Picture Show camp? Well, first we have to ask, what even is camp? To me, it means over the top, silly, and unrealistic. It means a movie enters its own playful world, and Rocky Horror perfectly fits that narrative. Rocky Horror goes big with its presentation, intentionally ignoring the traditional aesthetic for movies and going with the flash of it all. The costumes are a key example. So, camp is unique, and Rocky Horror is definitely unique, especially for 1975. It does create an identity that is exaggerated for effect, so it would seem it perfectly fits this description. However, there was another side to camp. A large section of so bad it's good movies are called camp, and the ideas have kind of started to blend together. I think movies being so bad it's good is the dumbest idea I've ever heard, and one of my biggest frustrations with movie spaces. If you enjoy a movie, it's just good. Sharknado is not a bad movie at all. It's a humorous, action-packed great time. Back to Rocky Horror though. I don't even think losers who subscribe to the dumb idea of so bad it's good would call this bad. It is just a good movie. So while diagnosing this movie with campness, I have to ask, do you think camp comes with a certain level of negativity to it? If so, then Rocky Horror isn't camp. But if you look at camp positively, as bold uniqueness, then yes, this movie is camp. I don't really know how I've gone this long without mentioning the man, the myth, the sexy trans alien Tim Curry. All the adjectives apply here. He was electric and fully embodied this role in such a fun way. A one-of-a-kind performance that was the start of a legendary career and arguably his most defining role. It's super impressive just how much he understood it from the jump. This was his very first movie role after all. The last large topic I want to tackle is the culture around this movie. It became a cult classic through its midnight screening, where fans would come dressed in outfits and yell the lines singing the songs. Maybe I'm just grumpy and prefer my theater a little calmer, but this sounds miserable. I don't really want to point out some queer community-driven activities and say they are bad. That doesn't feel great. Queer people need to find each other and connect, but it doesn't really have to happen in a theater, does it? I just can't fully get behind quoting a movie while it's playing. Every theater experience could be a person's first time watching that movie, and it doesn't feel fair to them to hijack their movie watching experience. I had the same problem with the Minecraft movie. You can dress up and have your fun, but during the movie, sit down and chill a little bit. I know it isn't that serious, and people are just having fun, but it still annoys me. Overall, my problems are kind of few and far between. Ultimately, this is just not a movie I would fall heads over heels for, but I still like it. My problem with musicals are still there. There are a couple of fine songs that could be cut. Over half of this is a musical number, and the film comes to a screeching halt during a few of those songs. It kills the momentum still. With fewer songs, the story could have hit home just that little bit harder, allowing the actors to act, not just force them to perform the entire time, but it works. I have a tendency to just reinforce the negative in my wrap-ups for some reason. This is a movie I could see myself coming back to with groups of people, looking for a fun time, and I just want to end off on something a little positive and saying that. Thanks for joining me on day 4 of my 13 days of Halloween's movies. The first 3 videos are already up. I'll try to link to the playlist on screen. Tomorrow, we'll be here at the same time, 9 a.m. EST. Would be appreciated if you subscribed, liked, and comment. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.